Yeah.
Hi there, my name's Amelia Kramer. I'm the owner of Upwards Art Studio. So we do bi-weekly product demos of things that we stock in the store. So this week I'm going to demonstrate PanPastels. So to get started, this is what a PanPastel look. Oh, I gotta change cameras. Hold on.
That means you have to edit them. Oh, yeah.
Remove spotlight. This is usually a lot more seamless. Okay, and you can see them. I don't care. So these are PanPastels. These we have the whole line of them in the store. They are a soft pastel that they use some binders, some proprietary binders that are unique to PanPastel. And one of them is methyl cellulose, so they are archival, they're acid-free, all of those lovely things. They are kind of straight up pigments, so I would recommend using gloves if you're using them, or a barrier cream or something like that, so that you can protect yourself. So they come in like this. You can get palettes for them. So this is the 10 color palette. And then this is a 20 color palette, just so it's like they come empty, and then you can put your pastel. You don't need the lids anymore unless you want to travel with them. And then they just go like this, and you can store them nice and flat. Yeah. Oh, one thing I was gonna say, here, we'll just do it with this, is that if you have a whole bunch of them and you are traveling, I would probably group them all together. So they all screw together. If you can do it without being awkward. There we go. So they can all screw together and make kind of like a tower, and then you would just put one lid on top, and you could take that like wherever. Yeah. They do shatter just like eyeshadow if you drop them on the floor, or if you're shipping, if you order them online or from us online. We try to make sure that they don't shatter, but this is one that I ordered like a long time ago, and now I have to be super careful because these are basically powder. Okay, and I've lost my sheet already. Okay, so there are some basic tools that you can use. So there are, these are called Paw Patrol, right? This guy. So there's these blue, they're called soft tools. Oh, hold on, I gotta move my camera because, oops, I'm not in my camera. There we go. So they're called soft tools. They're made by PanPastel, and they come with these different tips for them. I should have gloves on because these are really dirty. Does anybody know where? Oh, here they are. Oh my God.
Like this.
Did everybody's power go out last night? Yeah, I thought I was having like power surges because it kept doing
That's
like,
what mine did.
yeah. Anyway, all my computer stuff.
My mom left me with zombies.
With zombies? Oh my gosh.
My mom left me.
Did you fight the zombies?
No, I was just running away.
You were running away from them. So they come with different, there are different tips that you can buy for them. All of mine are open. So there's these, oh, that's kind of the same one. There's little,
Grandma blew me up.
that's okay. It's all good. There's little triangle end ones. There's like these oval ones. There's square ones. So there's a whole bunch of different tips that you can get. There's ones that look like fancy eyeshadow brushes. There's all these different size sponge. The alternative is to go to the dollar store and get some makeup. These are like, right, the triangle makeup ones that all come like this, and then you pull them apart. Another one is they sell these proprietary as well, but they're just eyeshadow sponges, right? So
They don't last as long as the other ones, though.
yeah, these ones last really a long time, and these ones don't last as long. These are nice and they're dense, right?
Yeah.
So
Tired of.
you're so tired. Do you need a nap on the couch? You're just gonna nap right there. That's perfect. Oh, and you're awoken. Okay. Okay. So those are kind of the tools. You can use Q-tips and stuff like that. Anything. There's lots of times that, not lots of times that but I have a friend that uses these a lot, and she uses just a little fine brush and brushes it on stuff. So I'm going to talk about some papers. So
Tired.
obviously you can use pastel paper. So this is just one example of pastel paper that I have. So we'll just use a white one so that you can see it. That you can use mixed media paper, which obviously doesn't have as much tooth. You can use watercolor paper, which has more tooth than the pastel paper. And then we're gonna try it on some, I should have got a pencil to like rate what all of them are. We're gonna remember.
Want me to go get one?
Oh, Dawn, it's just in this drawer that says graphite.
What's the difference between oil pastels and these palette pastels?
Oil pastels, the binder is oil, and so I'm gonna show the difference between a regular soft pastel. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I talked a lot yesterday.
Happens to me all the time.
So this was the watercolor. Good color. This is the mixed media. And you can even just see the texture of the paper as I'm writing on it, right? And this was the pastel. And this pastel is actually two-sided. So one side is quite textured, and then this side is softer or like less textured. And then this was black drawing paper just out of a regular, like a sketchbook paper. Okay. And I keep losing this, and I'm gonna move these out of the way. I feel really discombobulated.
It's okay. Windy days are just like this.
Yeah,
one.
I know.
Don't want to teach on a windy.
Okay, so this, we talked about the surfaces. So I was gonna show on this pastel paper the difference between hand pastel and regular soft pastels. So actually, I'll get some oil pastels.
I like art.
Okay, so these ones are oil pastels. And so the thing with oil pastels, these are all just mixed different brands together because we were using them. So oil pastels, they do not dry. They never dry, ever. Thanks for oil. You can smudge them around and you can mix them together and stuff like that. That's gonna make it brown, so let's not do that. Right, you can mix them over top of each other and kind of blend them that way. The soft pastels, these are regular soft pastels, right? So they're very chalky. And I'm not a pastel artist, so I may be using them differently than a pastel artist would. So that's a regular soft pastel, and you can see that there's a lot of extra dust and stuff. Now I'm trying to find a purple. So this is the PanPastel. So I'm just going to grab a nice sponge. And to clean off the sponges, just need some paper towel. So I'm just going to clean this off because obviously it's quite dirty. And you just have to go until it runs out. It might still look dirty on the sponge, but as long as it's not like leaving big hunks of color behind, then it's fine. Okay, so what side did I clean? And really, you don't need to do this swirl around thing that I was doing, right? So that's a lot more, like the coverage is better. There's not a whole bunch of excess dust, right? This is very dusty. You probably can't see in the video, but that's the differences between the pastels. So this is the oil one, the regular soft pastel, and then PanPastel.
How well do the PanPastels blend?
They blend really well. So I'm gonna do, where's my paper? I've lost track of things again. Yeah, so we're gonna do, so we're gonna layer them first. So I just want to show what they look like on each of the, gosh, I can't. On each of the papers, just so that you have an idea. So this is the really textured pastel one. This is the not as textured pastel. This is the mixed media.
Oh, yeah, it's really.
And this is the watercolor. And then this is black. So I'm gonna have to find something, maybe this one, that would show up. Right, because that purple is too dark. I can still blend with it. Well, it's actually showing up not too bad. In real life, you're probably, oh, it is showing up in the video too. Right, so there's different options for how you want to use them. So if you're going to use water with them, which you can, I would probably use a watercolor or a thicker mixed media paper. So I was gonna do that later on, but then I just talked about it. So I just have my brush in some regular water and I can pull that out and blend it around. I can pull that out and come on.
Do the painting that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, so you can do that. I wouldn't put your wet brush into this. I would you know, put your next color, you know, next to it, and then you could pull that, and now that's gonna go brown because I had green or blue there. Okay, right, so you can add water to it. If it's you can add some alcohol to it too as for your water. I'm sorry, now it smells like a bar in here.
I'm at the art store.
So I've got some alcohol in here and some water, so I can, it just makes it a little bit softer, right? And if I get, maybe if I do it on this might run a little bit. So you can just get a little bit softer and by adding that little bit of alcohol to it.
Like a softer edge.
Yeah, like a softer edge is gonna blend out that edge a little bit better. That really smells like a bar. Okay. I feel really crazy today.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah.
It's not a pretend thing.
And just, I think the sudden change into now
Yeah.
to actually get warm instead of kind of warm.
Okay, so I'm gonna blend them as well. So there's that purple. I'm going to clean my sponge here just a little bit. Just to get that big, oh look, there's a lot of, I'm using a different sign.
Oh,
So you can do this on like scrap paper, right? And instead of using up your paper towel. So you could just like, not on nice paper, but then you could use it for collage instead of making a pretty paper towel that maybe you don't want to use. Okay. So I'm gonna grab a different, let's grab this pink. And I'm just gonna put it right kind of underneath this. And then I'm gonna just clean this off a little bit. And I can blend that edge together. So that they become seamless. I can also mix colors together. So let's, Amelia, think this through instead of putting green and red together. Yellow and what?
right, okay.
Yellow and pink. Oh, maybe I should use a different tool as well, so that you're not just seeing the one tool. I prefer these sponges because I am not a pastel artist, right? Like if you're doing really fine detail, you might want one of these. But again, I'm not that type of artist. Okay, so let's go some yellow. Has a little bit of purple left on the sponge that I didn't clean off very well. And then a pink, how about this red? So I can blend them together, but I can also just tint that yellow, and this red obviously has a lot of tinting color. Go back on top with some yellow. And then there's an orange instead of the yellow and the red. So there's lots of options for changing the tones and the colors. This is just, I keep fighting with this thing. Right, so there's lots of different options. And even if I wasn't so crazy with it, could do that like blending up to it and then just kind of drag that in, and then there's that gradient. And maybe pull down that yellow. So that there's more of a gradient in it. So you can really shift the colors like really slightly. And I keep covering my to-do list. Okay. So we did mixing. So you can also lift it. So what's nice about this is that you can lift it with an eraser. Right. So I can just, I could, you know, maybe I didn't want that part, or maybe I want to add line detail. So so that was a gum eraser. This is like a white vinyl. And then this one of the kids in my after school crushed it all up. This is my kneadable, right? So I could make a really, if they hadn't crushed it up, I could make a sharper line with this. But yeah, so you can erase, that has purple all over it. You can erase, and because it was thicker there, I would need to just erase a little bit more. Right, so you could put designs with an eraser through it. And then you could like tone that part. Let's just try that with something that will show up. Right, if I just wanted that line to be super green instead of trying to mix them, and I don't want to put fixative on. So with soft pastels, you do need a fixative. So with this, like if I wanted the green line to go through this and be green, right now it's going to mix, right? If I wanted it to be this green up here, then I would need to fix this first and then let that dry and then put this green on. So a way to get around that is to just erase that part. Okay. So you can use it with mixed media stuff. Stock really clean things everywhere. I was looking for something that had like crackle paste on it, but I covered that with paint last week. And I don't think I have anything. So anyway, this is a mixed media board. It's just got, what does it have on it? I just need to feel it. It has, it's collage paper. I think there's a little bit of clear gesso that I can feel. There's ink, this is ink. These are woodies. I think this is a all pencil or graphite or charcoal or something. So this is just like a demo board that I randomly pull out when I need to demo something. Yeah, like there's a photo transfer. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so you can use it just on, like you don't have to use it on paper like a pastel artist. You can use it as a mixed media artist. So maybe I just want to highlight that little inside bit of that circle. You would need to put fixative on this once you're all done, right? So I can just add little tiny details to a mixed media piece of art. You can put it on like, can put it on clay, I've heard. So I would assume that's bisque fired, but I don't know. You'd have to Google that. Right, so just adding a little bit of highlight. I could, where did I put my highlight? Here. Right, maybe it's a low light on this side. I can use my finger to blend too. Again, with gloves on, just to protect yourself, or barrier cream. So so you can use it with that as well. Okay, so let's get rid of these. So I don't want to put them on fire. So you can do all of these techniques on any of these papers, right? It's just, I wanted to show you the difference between what it looks like on different papers. Okay. So let's move that out of the way because that's also fire-ish. Okay, so I paint with pastel, I paint with encaustic. So that's beeswax mixed with the tree resin. So this is, we use this a lot in the photography classes. So this is a photograph of a woman's dress. This is glue, the image is glued to the surface, and then I put a thin layer of wax on top. I think that's what this one is. I have some other ones. Just trying to figure out what they are. So this one started like this. I actually don't want to get pastel on it. This one, the photo is printed on rice paper and then embedded. And it's not cleaned up very well. So this whole edge here, that's gross. I would clean that up, and it's pretty foggy in some spots. So I would clean those up before I did this. This was the nicest one that I could find. Okay. So with this, I can pigment that dress. Right, I could pigment. This is the funniest day ever.
Oh, Lord.
All good. Right, so I can just tone that dress a little bit, and because it's a black and white photo, the shadows of the photograph are gonna kind of make those shifts for me. Right, because these are pretty translucent. I can just
Completely opaque.
not on something like this.
Yeah,
Right, they're kind of ish.
they're pretty opaque, but
yeah.
not exactly.
So if I did something like that and I'm like, that was not the right idea. I can use hold on, I'm gonna stop talking when I'm far away from my camera. So if I do something like this where I'm like, that was the wrong idea, I can use vegetable oil on encaustic. Now what happened to my, oh my gosh, I'm just a walking disaster today.
You want towels?
And they're all right here. I was hoping to find one that I already had used. So with encaustic, the best eraser for things that you put on top of the wax is vegetable oil. So now that part is gone, and I can just might just kind of dry it up a little bit more with a dry piece of the paper towel. And then I can go on and go, well, maybe it should have been this color instead. Is that the color? What's the color I picked before? Is it? I don't know. Anyway. So I would take my time doing this. Right, and using those shadows in the black and white photograph to kind of help me make those shifts that I don't have to make with the pastel. Okay, and then with that, you would need to fuse it, oops, really lightly. So where's my camera? So this is a butane torch with the Awatani head. If you're an encaustic artist, you know what this is. So I want a low flame, and I want the air all the way open. And I'm just gonna flick that a bit away. Maybe, and I'm gonna do the dog lick thing so that it just softly, the wax softly absorbs the pastel. So even if I fuse it and I go, that was the wrong color, I can still come back in with my oil and erase it. This does not need another fixative with wax because wax is the fixative. Okay, so there's that one. And then I was gonna show cold wax as well. So this one's a little crazy, so I'm not sure how well this will show up. Oh, I think I did it there by in a different demo. Maybe that was charcoal. Okay, so this is cold wax, medium. It's a medium for oil painting. Oh gosh, I'm a crazy mess. What am I looking for? Palette paper. So I can get all my tools out. Now I can.
No, apologize. You're doing great. You got this.
I'm getting all right over there. Oh my gosh, okay. So with cold wax, there's a couple of ways to use it. You can use it, so I can just get a little bit out of here. So I can use it to pigment the cold wax. So I'm gonna take one of these out of here without breaking everything. There we go. So I can just kind of use a palette knife to kind of scrape some of the pigment out. And I'm doing it awkwardly like this so that you can see it on the camera. It's not usually this awkward. Because usually I just go like this. And then I can mix that in with my cold wax to pigment it, right? And that's it's a lot less pigment than like oil paint, right? Like, not that you need a lot of oil paint to color that, but like that's a high tinting ability for something really tiny that you would have other applications for, right? So, so to apply it, I could just, you know, add. So yeah, that's showing up, right? So what else I can do is get that off of there, and I don't have a rag, so use rags because this is oil. This has solvents in it, so you don't want to just throw it in the garbage when you're done. Okay, let's.
It's the cold wax that has.
It's the cold wax that has the solvent. Yeah, there are cold waxes without solvent. I prefer this one. I do really prefer this one over lots of the other ones. Okay, I don't want to use that. Oh no, I want to use that again. So what else I can do is just put a clear coat because this is pretty dry. So if I was working at it, then I wouldn't need to do this step. And actually I could just put it over this part because this part's new. So we'll use a different color for that part. I'm just going to turn this way so I can get some. So this just has this is clear, right? Because it's just the wax by itself. There's nothing pigmenting it, and it will dry clear as well. Let's just get maybe a little bit more. So now I can feel that my tool is just like sliding right over the surface. So I can use this again to kind of just drop some pigment bits into it. And they'll stick to that wax. I wouldn't want to, unless I wanted to, drag them around because they're going to do like draggy things. If I wanted that, then obviously do that. But if that's not your intention, then you need to let it set up and dry. Like have the cold wax dry before you put on a new layer. So over here where I have a colored layer, I could do the same thing, but with a color that will show up on top of it, just for the video. Right, I could just add a little bit of that. Maybe I want to move some of it around. You know what? So you can just add little bits of pigment. That was the last thing I was going to talk about. Are there any questions? Again, I'm not a pastel artist. I'm more like this stuff and how to use it in encaustic.
When you added that, just a little sprinkle,
yeah,
is it going to embed in the cold wax? Is
Yeah.
that the idea?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the cold wax is what's gonna grab
Soak it
onto
in.
it. And then, once the cold wax is dry,
It's
it's
in
there. Yeah, yeah.
For the palette pastels, what would you say is the better paper to hold the pigment and mix?
I would probably, for most applications of pastel paper, if you're just playing around with them, then like a mixed media paper, but it really, where were those? It really depends on what you want the finish to be. Right, like that's. So this is just a sketch pad paper, and I just chose black so that you can see what it looks like on black. Right, pastel paper has all these ridges and stuff in it. This is this, some pastel papers are two-sided, so this one's smoother. This is the mixed media, which looks a bit more like a pastel paper. And then watercolor, if you wanted to add water, then I would use a watercolor paper. So it really depends on what you want to play around with, because lots of time when we're painting or we're creating art, something will happen and you're like, oh, I wish I had used this substrate to begin with so that I could continue doing what happened by accident,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so if you're not going to add water, then I would probably go with a pastel paper or sketching paper. And then if you want to leave yourself open to using water or something else, a watercolor mixed media.
Mhm.
Have any questions?
That's great.
I probably will when I get home.
Yeah, just email me or message. This will be on YouTube again if you, for the parts that you had to miss. So yeah, it will be on YouTube. Actually, all of our product demos that we've done so far are on YouTube. And then I didn't even look up to see what the next one was, because that's true of
Late.
really a fashion.
I do have a question about the fix-it you
Yeah.
like to use.
So I like to use fixative that I can't see in here that I thought was there. It's a pump spray one.
Yeah, get it going.
So with the pump spray, I'm just gonna use this. No, that smells like bark. Okay, I'm just gonna use this to pretend because it is a pump spray. There are aerosol ones. Aerosol need to be outside, like you need to spray them outside. Yeah, yeah. So there is a pump spray one. Sometimes it drops, right? So if you do this, sometimes it makes large drops. So a way to get around that, oh, and this is watercolor paper, so nobody cares, is to spray it up in the air and then catch all the
Oh.
droplets with your paper. And that is not showing up on video, but I spray it up and then catch it with my paper. So it's making a fine mist because all of those big droplets will fall really
Yeah, but
quickly.
when you just not like hold it at further distance away to get
Yeah,
that spray and
you
stuff,
could.
well,
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I've experienced that I've held it like this and it's still, yeah,
yeah,
just some alternatives to,
And you don't find that that's the same toxicity issue when you, as an aerosol?
no, the other one has branded itself as not toxic. Yeah, and there's a workable fixative and a final fixative. So workable is, it fixes and you can still work on top of it, but it might pull some of that underneath color around. A final fix will seal that basically, so that when you go onto your next layer, nothing is going to move underneath. So there's kind of two of them. Yeah. Okay. Yep. And so let me change cameras again. Move spotlight, and then actually I'm just gonna leave them both like this. So what was I gonna say? So there's another demo in 2 weeks. Check our website because I don't know what it is. Yeah, and we do have Open Studio here if you ever want to try any of this stuff before you buy it. There's a set rate for an hourly rate, and basically you can use anything in
Yeah,
this room.
yeah.
So if you want to try out a whole bunch of products that I have in here anyway,
Yes, I mean,
So that's an option though.
Okay.
Yeah, and Open Studio is available anytime that we're open, that the store is regularly open.
That's awesome.
Okay,
Awesome. Thank you.
thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you very, very much.
No worries.